Hello, I'm Catherine King with the Fairhope Single Tax Corporation Archives. And today we have the great pleasure of speaking with Mrs. Becky Jones. And she's going to tell us about when she was a little girl and she had dinner with Henry Stuart. So Becky, thank you for inviting us to your house.
It's our pleasure.
We certainly are thrilled to be here and hear your story.
Well, the house at that time had only 4 rooms. This was our kitchen. Where that rug is was our living room. My bedroom is right through there. I did not have a closet. No one had closets in those days. We didn't have a lot of clothes. My parents' bedroom is right to the left, right there. They had a closet, and it was no bigger than this. My involvement with Henry Stuart was 2 ways. One was when we ever had, now my mother grew up in Fairhope. My grandparents lived in a house right there where the golf cart place is, across from the Methodist Church.
And they were Mackenzies.
They were Mackenzies, and they lived right there. So it felt like I had basically lived my whole life here in Fairhope, but during the war, that's World War II, we all gathered at my aunt's house in Mobile. The men went away to war. But we gathered there with my Aunt Vera. We would come over to see my grandparents as soon as we got enough gasoline to come across the causeway and visit with the grandparents. Whenever we would have company, we would always go to see Henry Stuart. He was a wonderful, wonderful gentleman and loved company. Now, I was a little girl at that time, but I was, well, in those days, I have to say this, everybody loved Shirley Temple. Well, people today don't know who Shirley Temple is, but everybody wanted to be a Shirley Temple. So I was very alive and aware of my surroundings. We would go to see Mr. Henry Stuart at his Tolstoy Park. I never knew that that was all around it till you showed the pictures of pine trees and stacks of wood. I never knew that was there. The only thing that reminded me going to the entrance to his house were raised flower beds. I won't call them flower beds, but they were about the size of this rug on each side going in when you would then go down the steps to go in. Now, he planted, he was a vegetarian, he planted all kinds of things in those beds. And then he would take tall things and make like trellises over the top of those beds. Now, he would grow all kinds of things, but the main thing he did that would always scare me to death, he would go into the woods and he would find harmless snakes that would be in those beds and crawling up into the trellises. My mother was very brave about this, and so was everyone else that went to see him. But as a little girl who wanted to be Shirley Temple, I would always go in with my hand on my mother's shoulder and blindfolded like this, where I could not see. He would always be very nice. We'd sign the book, and then we would leave. I imagine our names are in that book many times. The funny thing that happened with Henry Stuart happened right here in the room that we're sitting in right now. Behind me was a set of windows. The door right there went into the yard, another set of windows, and another set of windows. This was our kitchen. Some of these were our kitchen cabinets right here. The day that Henry Stuart, well, Mother invited him one time for Thanksgiving dinner. And that was the funny part. It was a horrible rainy day, that Thanksgiving. He wanted to walk. Now, I never realized until I saw your pictures that he walked along the beach, and there was a bridge over Fly Creek.
Yeah, that was one of his paths, and his other path was Scenic 98. So we don't know what route he took that day, but maybe he walked along the beach.
A guest here today has all kinds of things about him, some of which I did not know, that at one point it said he had to take sticks and things because there were snakes along the way.
Well, we know from his diaries, we have several of his diaries at the museum, and he would always comment on the snakes that he ran into and killing this black snake and killing this rattlesnake. So I'm sure he was ready at any time to, kill a snake.
I never knew that. I never knew there was some sort of a walking bridge over Fly Creek. I did not know that.
And that was the early days, but yes.
But at any rate, my father picked him up and brought him. He was casual, as usual, barefooted, as usual, but very clean with a beautiful beard. And Mother, now there was a wall here. Can you see? Right there. Everything here used to be something else, but there was a wall right there. And so we entertained him first in the living room right there. I don't remember what the furniture was like. I have no idea whatsoever. But right where we're sitting with the window behind us was a table, and my mother had set it for 4, and somewhere over this way there was a refrigerator and a stove. And what else did we have in those days? Not much else. Not much else. So she had set a beautiful table, and he has a picture. This is Mr. Scott Hart from New Orleans, and he has a picture of the table in the hut all set up with china.
We don't know about that picture.
I have not seen that picture. No, I'll have to find out for you all.
Please do.
Where they don't leave until tomorrow, but I'll find out. I had never seen anything like that. All right, so anyway, Mother has on the stove, because no one in those days had anything like counters or anything. It was on the stove. She had made a big pot of vegetable soup for him to take home. But there sat the turkey and the sweet potatoes and the dressing and the carrots and the peas and the cranberry sauce, everything that went into Thanksgiving dinner. Okay. He said, my mother said, Mr. Stuart, you go first. Now, remember, I'm just a floppy kid wanting to be Shirley Temple. They said, for whatever it's worth, Shirley Temple had an IQ of 155. She was very, very intelligent and memorized the lines of all the people that were in the movies with her and all the dance steps that were easy too. I never knew that. We just all wanted to be a Shirley Temple. I've got a picture of me in my Shirley Temple outfit in there, in a green dress with my curls. But any rate, they said Shirley Temple started making movies when she was 3 years old. Okay? So we all wanted to be her. Now, Miss Mother said to Mr. Stuart, here, you go first, and handed him a plate from a beautiful table with windows right here. That was not there. And said, you go first. And so he said, Mrs. Bloxham, I would need a bowl, please. And she handed him a little bowl. He said, ma'am, I need one a little larger if it's okay with you. So she got out a bigger bowl. And he said, what I'm thinking about is probably a mixing bowl. So she got out a mixing bowl and he went to the stove. He put in the bowl the dressing, the gravy, the peas, the carrots, the cranberry sauce, and then from the pot of vegetable soup, he took a ladle and poured gravy over all of it. He then took a big spoon and mixed it all up and then came and sat by me. Now, I was not as kind as Shirley Temple would have been. I had never seen anything like that in my young life. And any rate, that was, he took the soup home, and every time we visited, it was the same way. Now, I need to tell y'all, and you might want to check on this sometime, and it's okay to hook on this, because always when we would go visit Henry Stuart, we would visit a man by the name of George Wellborn. Now, have you all ever heard? It was on our Sunday tourist drive. Now, I said that George Wellborn lived where the Art Center is right now, and Donnie Barrett said no, it was not quite there. But in my Shirley Temple years, it was where the Art Center is now. His house was made out of apple crates. In those days, apples came in wooden crates. And he would go, and his whole house was made of crates like that. George Wellborn, and this is what's so funny now, the Masonic Lodge here in Fairhope sneaked him across the border from Canada. Can you believe that? In those days...
These stories, my goodness.
In these days, can you imagine having to sneak a Mason across the Canadian border and down to Fairhope? Now, why would we go on seeing Henry Stuart? Why would we go to see George Wellborn with our company? Well, for one thing, his crazy house made out of wooden apple slice. In the main inside, he saved from chewing gum wrappers. In those days, there was a silver inner liner on a stick of spearmint or something. He saved those. He made a tremendous ball of them. He saved so many of them. I remember standing and actually touching that ball. I thought that was amazing, but the best was yet to come. He also, George Wellborn, also saved pieces of string. And he had an enormous ball of string in his crazy apple house. But the best is yet to come. We would go out in back, and he, in this backyard, and he had some kind of a fence around it, he would beat on a pan, and there were holes in the ground all around. And he would beat on this pan, and out of those holes would come gopher turtles that lived in those holes. And they would come out, and he would have lettuce, and you could go and feed the turtles in the holes. Now, see, he is an interesting Fairhopian. When we start thinking of strange people in Fairhope, now this is messing you up, but can I mention a couple more?
Of course.
On Boise Lane, which is off of Magnolia, lived a lady that kept spiders in her house. And there were webs everywhere. And you would walk through and she would tell you about the different kinds of spiders that lived in her house. There was a lady.
What was her name, the spider lady?
I do not know. Let me tell you what I want to say, but I don't think it's right. I want to say Isabella Duncan, but I think she was a ballerina, wasn't she? All right, then that's who it is.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. That's who it was. Okay. Living next to her on Boise Lane was the sweetest blind lady. And when we visited the spider lady, my mother, we would always go in to this sweet blind lady, and she had kitty cats everywhere. She loved kitties and had kitties everywhere. And I would say to her, and I can't remember her name.
She was Nell Slosson Boise.
So you know.
We know about Aunt Nell the blind.
Okay.
Pinky Bass's aunt.
And the kitty cat song. Come kitty, and play with me. We will be happy as kitties can be. Come kitty, and play with me. We will be happy as kitties can be. We would visit her. All right. We would go and stand because no one across from St. Lawrence Catholic Church lived a lady that lived in a tree, and it was all paper mache. It was all made of paper mache.
That was Mrs. Schramm.
I do not know. You all know all this. Yeah. I just remember from my Shirley Temple days.
Did you all visit her?
No.
You passed by.
Because we would pass by
and look up.
As I recall, this is the story that was told. The day she died, they brought her down, and then the house collapsed. Now, that's the story. You can believe it or not.
This is amazing.
Oh goodness, the librarian, y'all know a lot about her.
Mm-hmm, Mrs. Howland.
Uh-huh.
But she died in 1921.
Uh-huh.
So.
Well, what she would do was every Sunday she had a little boat that, now this comes down through my grandparents, okay? I was not here in 21, but she would come down and kept a little rowboat and would strip off all of her clothes and row up and down, up and down, up and down with a boatload of policemen behind her. No big deal. But that was one of the stories of those days. I heard many stories about the gullies and the nudist camps, colonies in the gullies. My uncles were teenagers, kind of when that was going on, and they would tell my grandmother, remember they lived there where the cart place is now, they would say, oh, we're going to go fishing. And the boys in town would go hide out in the gullies and watch the nudists down below. So that is kind of an oldish story. But other than that, I think that's...
Well, this is absolutely marvelous. Now let's place when you had Thanksgiving dinner with Mr. Stuart. You think it was probably, well, he left here in 1944, and so you think it's probably 40 to 41, 42, 43, something like that time frame.
That's the time I would put on it.
Yeah. Well, do you remember talking with, what did he talk about?
I do not remember that. I remember when you would go to visit him, he was always talking about things. But as a kid, that didn't sink into me.
And let me ask you, did you go into the house? Well, tell us about the inside of the roundhouse.
All that I remember was the loom.
Oh, the loom was up. We haven't heard about anyone we don't have a picture of the loom, so tell us.
All right, the loom was there, and then his crazy bed that hung on hooks.
How big was the loom? When you think about...
When you're a kid, everything is big.
And you know, the inside is only 14 feet in diameter, so did it take up more than half the room, do you think? Or?
Maybe half.
Because those rugs, he was doing rugs that were about maybe 32, 36 inches wide, so, okay.
But I love the stories about him. Now, Sonny Brewer tells a bunch of them about needing putting a shoe on a shovel. Did that really happen?
Well, you remember Sonny's brilliant book is a book of fiction based on Henry Stuart, and for Sonny Brewer 20 years ago to publish this book without what we know today. Remember, we have received, Fairhope and the museum has received these marvelous diaries, so we know so much more. We've also received letters that he wrote after he got here that Sonny didn't have. So, you know,
I remember,
there's a muse there's some channeling going on, I think, with Mr. Sonny Brewer.
I remember some talk that he rode out a hurricane. He came over on with the train, didn't he? And over by Bayboat. All right, I remember somewhere him either staying with the Stedhams, but now Parker got the land for him, But Sonny Brewer talks about the Stedhams. And the Stedhams had an old bayfront house up that way, and he went through a hurricane with them. And he said, I will never do anything like this again. Now that was hearsay. All right, we also heard, passed down, that another one came after he left the Stedhams, and while he was building his house, another one came and he buried himself in a ditch with branches all over him.
See, those are things that we don't have documentation of, but when he was building his roundhouse, the terrible hurricane of 1926 did occur.
That was the storm.
That was the storm. So,
that was
you know,
the
these
storm.
stories, and then Sonny's book and his fictionalization of things, and it's fascinating. It's truly fascinating.
Now, you think the Spider Lady was Isadora Duncan?
It wasn't Isadora Duncan. There's another one, and I can't recall it right now. But
Something.
Yeah, something, and we'll find that out, Becky. I have a lot of research to do after leaving here.
It's there on Boise Lane.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
There are two of them right together there, and one the Spider Lady lived in, and one the Kitty Lady lived in.
Well, it sounds like these Sunday afternoon drives were great fun, and you would maybe go to church and then have lunch, and then hop in the car
With company. And we'd go visit. But I remember the Kitty Lady, just Mother and I would go so many times because she would sing that song.
I think she was a very, very gentle lady. She was Pinky Bass's mother's sister, and they lived across. The family lived on Bayview, and the father, Mr. Slosson, built a replica of that house in Mobile so Nell, the blind daughter, could feel her way around when they were living in Mobile. So it's a lovely family. We know a lot about them. So anyway, thank you very much, Becky.
It's been my pleasure.
Just so wonderful.
I love to talk. Well, now see, I thought I was double talking everything because we had a couple from Jackson, Mississippi, and the couple that's here is from New Orleans, and I will see what he's got. I will see.
We are always thrilled to have information and pictures, and we are happy to scan them and return them to the owner should they not wish to remain with us.
This is all on his pad, and more pictures than I have ever seen. Was there? All right, now it showed a cabinet in there. Is there a cabinet in there?
Well, there is, but it's not original. It's when Sonny Brewer, from what Sonny tells us, when he went into the roundhouse, it was just a mess. Mm-hmm. It was, leaves all over the place, not taken care of, and so slowly he cleaned it out, repainted the inside, and put in furniture that was reminiscent of the time. So I think that. Becky, thank you so much for inviting us into your beautiful home. And Jake, we appreciate your hospitality.
Yes.
And hearing all these marvelous stories about Henry Stuart and all these other people.
Right. And you've given me the names of some of them. To me, I didn't remember any names. It was just going to see people.
Right. Well, this is wonderful. Thank you
so
much. It was just so much fun.
Thank you.